you own it. Let every mile bring a smile, yeah.
Welcome back to another episode of the Road of Life podcast. And this week we're talking about the power of community.
Yeah, big one.
This journey, whatever journey you're on, this road of life, it's got its challenges.
Yeah.
It's got its ups and downs and windy roads and weather and construction. And one of the things that we have found super, super valuable on our journey, especially when we left our corporate jobs and went into entrepreneurship.
And everyone we knew thought we were crazy.
Yeah, you probably still do. That this journey is not for the faint of heart. It's challenging. It's got its ups and downs. And one of the things that has been super, super helpful for us is surrounding ourselves with people who understand what we're doing, understand what we're going through, are going through something similar. Someone you can talk to and hear the challenge. And some of those people have gone through parts of the journey that you're going through and can help you through it. And that's been a game changer for us. And so I think the power of community is something that is super underrated in this journey that we're all on.
Yeah, I mean, specifically talking about the entrepreneurship journey, it has felt at times very isolating. Like, our people don't always understand. You sometimes feel like you're in your office screaming out into the abyss and no one understands. Like, it can be a very isolating experience. And it's the same whatever road you're on. So whatever transformation in life you're trying to make, whatever change you're undertaking in your life, any challenge you're trying to overcome, whether that's parenting, whether that's a business, whether that's trying to mend a relationship, whatever the challenges you're facing, it can sometimes feel like you're the only one facing it. And loneliness is really, really difficult. So being around people who A, understand what you're going through so that you just don't feel so alone is a game changer. And B, to your point, people who've been on the road you're on, who know where you are and can let you know where the shortcuts might be, which path you should be on so that you don't take the wrong turn and you can maybe avoid some bad weather, like that who, not how philosophy. Which we can put a link to our episode on that in the show notes. But having someone who's been down the road that can guide you along the way is also a game changer. And regardless of what that journey is for you, the other people around you makes a huge difference. Like, huge.
And one of the big things that I've found super helpful for putting this into perspective is this notion, this concept that we learned around that we all have 5 bank accounts, not just one. Like, we all think of, when we think about bank accounts, we're like one bank account, and we think about money.
Money, 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 money.
Money. It's all about money.
Yeah.
But in reality, we have 5 bank accounts.
Yeah.
And money
In
is just
life.
one of them.
Yeah.
5 bank accounts in life, and one of them is money.
Yeah. And it's not even the most important or valuable one.
No. We're going to talk about all 5 here in
Yeah.
a second. And let's just start with the first one.
Time.
Time. It's the most valuable.
It is the one that we never know the account balance of.
Yeah.
And that was hammered home for us in the last few months when my dad died, that you never know how much balance you have in that account. And we're all actively spending our time account right now, talking to each other, having this podcast, having this moment together. We're all actively spending from our time account without ever knowing what the balance is. But once that account balance hits 0,
That's it. That's all.
that's it. That's all she wrote. Time's up. So we got to make the most. We don't know how much time we have left. So we need to make the most of our time. That to me is like the biggest, flashiest account that we have.
And it's the one that's tick, 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 dropping every second of the day.
Yeah.
Drop, 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 drop. And again, to your point, we don't know when that balance hits 0.
Yeah.
We don't know if it's in a minute from now. We don't know if it's an hour from now, a year, 10, 20, 30, 40 years from now. We don't know. So it's a really interesting account in that you don't know the balance.
Yeah.
So
Good luck planning.
so the second account, energy.
Energy. Yeah. You're like a phone battery.
Yeah.
Like you
got to be recharged.
got to be recharged. It's up to you to figure out what are the things that recharge you.
Good sleep is one. You need sleep. Get good sleep.
Yeah.
Drink some water. But what are the other things that give you energy? Is it getting out in nature? Is it meditating? Is it breathing exercise?
Journaling, reading,
getting out on the golf course, playing basketball,
going for a run,
underwater basket weaving, whatever it is your thing, find those things and find time to do them. They recharge you.
The other thing to be aware of besides what recharges your battery is what are the things that suck your battery. What drains you.
And the people.
Yeah, the things and the people who drain your battery.
And you want to be around people who energize you, who provide energy to your life, don't drain you. The people who drain you...
You want to limit the time.
That's a sign that you maybe need to limit the time with those folks.
Yeah.
Is that if they're taking away your energy...
If every time you leave them, you feel depleted, you need to limit that time.
That's going to require some boundaries. Yeah, for sure.
Third account.
Money, 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 money!
It's the one we think is the most important.
It's the one we tie our self-worth to. It's the one that we tell the stories around.
Yeah. We so often tie our value, what we determine to be success. You know, we have so much emotion around money and what our bank account reflects back to us. If it doesn't reflect back a number that we want, we think we're a failure. We're not worthy. Like, we tie our self-worth and our value and our success to our money bank account. When, like, obviously there's 5, and so tying your success only to money is just tunnel vision. But the thing about money is we give it so much power, but it's just a tool.
It's a resource.
It's a resource. And the only power money has is the power we give it by using it to buy back time or get access to people, or like how we deploy money gives it power.
How do we use money to recharge? How do we use money to get access to people who can elevate our life? How do we use money to gain knowledge and other things that can help us to achieve the goals we want in life? Money is a tool and a resource to be deployed to help with the other accounts.
Correct. Account number 4.
People.
People, the most important one.
This is your most important account.
Yeah. Because it is the only account that allows you to get time back, to save you time.
Yep.
You can leverage relationships, you can leverage collaborations to actually save you time.
Yeah, if you are working with someone who has done the thing that you're trying to do, they can take that time frame from decades to days. You can literally save time. Get to the things that you want to achieve way faster when you get access to people who know what to do and how to do it.
You can leverage relationships to save you time. And like a really, really simple example of this, if anyone's struggling to understand how do people save me time, when's the last time you cut the grass?
I don't cut the grass.
Yeah. You used to spend an hour cutting the grass.
100%. Hire someone to do the things that don't fill you up, you don't want to do, that aren't advancing you in your life, and get someone who it does help them. They have a business where they do this and it advances their life.
Correct.
And so there's ways where you can leverage relationships and people to help you achieve your goals and save you a bunch of time.
Which, like another example, we have a coach. Our coach helps us, saves us time so that we are not spinning our wheels, making the same mistakes over and over again.
Shout out, Greg. Final percent.
Yeah. So that's another way that we are leveraging relationships to save time in our life.
Yeah.
What's the 5th account?
Knowledge.
Big one.
Yeah.
Knowledge is the most valuable account. The coolest thing about knowledge, I think, and I never really thought about it before until someone pointed it out to me, and it's so obvious, is that knowledge never goes down.
Nope.
Like knowledge only ever goes up.
It only increases, and it can exponentially increase, because when you teach someone something, you don't lose it. You haven't given it. You've given it, but you haven't lost it.
Correct.
And the other person now has it, and they can go and give it.
Yeah.
And then they give it to 3 people, and those 3 people give it to 3 people, and then it's an exponential
situation.
Yeah.
It's like a candle, right? If I have a candle that's lit and I light your candle, now both candles are lit, but mine is still lit.
Yeah, now we both can go and light other candles.
Yeah.
And then all those candles can light other candles.
Yeah.
And pretty soon, you've got a whole beautiful light show.
And the best part is when I actually share my knowledge with you, when I teach you something, I learn it better. Like the best way to learn something to gain
100%.
more is to teach it.
Yeah.
So if I teach you something that I already know, if I share my knowledge with you, not only do I not lose it, it actually increases. I understand it better. It goes up for me when I share my knowledge. So it's like, I don't know. I never really thought about it. It's so obvious now that it's been pointed out to me, but it's very cool that knowledge only ever increases, and it especially increases when you share it.
Yeah.
And so these 5 accounts all work together.
It's synergistic. They all work together. You can use like we talked about, you can leverage money to buy access to people and save you time.
You can spend energy to build relationships,
get
to
knowledge.
gain knowledge. Like they all work together.
Yeah.
But the most important one is your
people.
people account, your relationships, because it's the only one that will save you time.
And you don't have to just take our word for it. There's actually a study on this, and it's the longest running study of human life ever recorded. It's at Harvard. I think we can all agree, Harvard, pretty smart. It's like 87 years and counting. Started in 1938. It spanned generations of families, and it's touched the lives and impacted
Followed like 2,000 people.
over 2,000 people.
Yeah.
And there's tens of thousands of pages of findings from this study.
And they study what makes people healthier, happier, and live a successful life.
What helps us live happier, healthier, and longer, successful lives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is like, I don't know, something most of us are trying to figure out, right?
100%.
And the fact that Harvard is doing a study on that over the course of like a bazillion years is really helpful.
And they see it as so important. They've had multiple directors overseeing it. Like they've kept this thing running. All the participants have continued in it. And it's so cool because you don't get studies like this very often.
It started in the 30s, like 1930 something.
1938.
Yeah.
1938. It's called the Grant Study if you want to verify sources. And it's really cool because the number one thing that they have found that is going to lead humans to have healthier, happier lives, long, successful lives, it's not money, it's not career achievement, it's not diet, it's not exercise, it's none of those things. The number one thing that helps us live healthier, happier, longer, successful lives is good relationships. That's crazy when you think about it. That of all the 87 years and the tens of thousands of pages of studies or findings, that is the major finding that Harvard has indicated that has come from this study, is that it's the quality of our relationships. Like, relationships matter that much.
Health, happiness, longevity. Like those three things. And it makes perfect sense to me because over the last, 10 years, I've started noticing that since we've started studying loneliness, the loneliness has gone up so much in society in relation to our levels of discontent and unhappiness. And even though in theory we're more connected than we've ever been with social media and social networks and things, we're actually the loneliest we've ever been. We're the most unhappy we've ever been because we don't have the quality of relationships that we need to have for our health, happiness, and longevity.
I just think it's so interesting that over 87 years, thousands of people and tens of thousands of findings, the number one thing is that people who have social connections, who are in a community, live longer, live happier. People who are more socially connected, who have a community, are happier, healthier, and live longer than those without a community. In other words, loneliness literally kills.
It's crazy.
And we've never been lonelier than we are now
Yeah.
as a society.
Yeah. Scary.
Yeah, very.
We're all in need of community and quality relationships.
And it's crazy when you think about it because if we know this, there's studies about it. We know that we're lonelier than we've ever been. And we know that the key to living longer, healthier, and happier is good relationships. Then why are we lonelier than we've ever been? And why are we not having a healthier, happier, longer lives? And the reason is because it's difficult. Like, relationships are tricky. Relationships are complicated. And asking for help is extremely uncomfortable. Yeah, it's hard. It's vulnerable to ask for help. But the thing is that everything we have ever wanted in life is on the other side of uncomfortable, hard, and being vulnerable.
So it takes a little bit of courage.
It takes a lot of courage, yeah.
So it takes courage to raise your hand, to step in, to lean in to a community, to ask for help, to participate. Like, it requires you putting yourself out there so that you can be met. And we've talked about this in other episodes. Like, it requires you to be you. It requires you to be yourself. Because one of the reasons that we're so lonely is because when we're covering ourselves, when we're putting out the version of us that we think will be accepted by a community, when we're fitting in to a community, then the acceptance we receive being in that community, we don't actually receive.
Yeah.
It makes us feel lonelier, when we're trying to fit in than when we belong, but belonging requires you to be who you are, which is scary as shit.
And it requires a lot of courage.
It does. And so raise your hand, be brave.
If you're struggling, you don't need to struggle alone. There's communities out there, and we're going to talk about one in a minute, but there's community out there that can help you to achieve the things that you want. If you raise your hand and say, look, I need some help, there's a lot of people out there that want to help you.
And especially when it comes to relationships, like we love chatting with you every week in these episodes, but there's more we can do together if you're brave enough to raise your hand and ask for help.
Yeah. So we are launching a mastermind. It is a community of people who want to build better relationships, all relationships. It's going to be about relationships with themselves, relationships with their spouse, relationship with their business partner, relationship with their friends and family, relationships.
Kids, mothers, brothers.
Relationships are the key to healthy, happier, longer lives. And so we're starting a mastermind that's going to equip people to have better relationships. Relationships that we just talked about, relationships with fun and adventure, because let's be honest, you all need more fun in your life. Relationships with the future and understanding where you're going and what you're trying to achieve. We are equipping you to change your relationship with relationships.
Yeah, we are.
And so if you're interested in finding a community that you can build with, that can help you build the life, the dream, the relationships that you've always wanted, and quite frankly, that you deserve, then reach out. We're going to have it linked in the show notes that you can take a look at the details of the mastermind. And if that's something that tickles you, something that is of interest to you, then by all means, click that link. And that doesn't mean that our community is the one. It is an option for you, and we want to welcome you into our community. Just find a community, whatever it is for you. We just want to see you win. So whether that's our community, another community, as long as you have a community, because like we said, community is the key to living longer, healthier, happier lives. So the key is that you find a community. It doesn't have to necessarily be a certain community, though we have one and we would welcome you with open arms.
Find a community where you can be you.
Find a community that's going to welcome you and allow you to be you. The world needs more you.
So, what's the one thing you're going to do coming out of this episode? You know how important your relationships are. What's the one thing you're going to do to improve your relationships? Starting with the most important relationship to you. Whatever relationship that happens to be, start there. What's the one thing you're going to do? I hope you're going to click the link, but it can be anything. And also, who are you going to share this with? Maybe the relationship you're thinking of right now that you want to start with, share this episode with them. Share this episode. This is information we want everyone to have. Your relationships are important. Loneliness is killing us. We need to work on our relationships. We need to build relationships and build community, and we'd love to build community with you. So click the link, start working on your relationships.
And one last thing, remember, you don't have a time problem. You don't have an energy problem. You don't have a money problem, and you don't have a knowledge problem. What you have is a people problem. And if you pour into and invest in your people account, you will have more time to do the things that you love with those you love. You'll have more energy to pour into all the things that matter the most to you, whether that's building a business, building a family, or all your hobbies, or better yet, all of those things. You'll have more money than you've ever had in your life, and your access to knowledge will be infinite. Your time account is ticking, and that was hammered home to us this year when we lost Mayor's dad. And we don't know when it's going to hit zero. So lean in, participate in your life, increase your people account, and as a byproduct, increase your time account, your energy account, your money account, and your knowledge account.
Live a long, happy, healthy life.
Harvard can't be wrong.
Harvard is pretty smart.
Harvard's not wrong. We love you.
See you next week.
Bye.
Road of life, yes, you are.